interpretation.
Yes.
But actually, to really, I suppose what I'm trying to understand is really what that's like for another who experiences what we would term self-doubt. What it's like for them, what effect it has for them, you know, on the therapeutic relationship.
Yeah, as in what effect my self-doubt has.
Yeah.
On, yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I worry that my client doesn't feel held.
Right.
And that I am not going to be able to sort of withstand or face up to whatever is brought up, you know, if it's something big.
Right.
And that possibly my self-doubt will hold them back as well as me back.
Right.
So like in some way I might be stopping them from staying with something and going with something.
Right.
So like with the client I've been seeing long term, he's the longest term I've had, so it's difficult to compare. But one of the interventions that I make with him quite often is I say, can we just stay with that? Because he goes so quickly.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. I can't remember where I was going with that. So at times like that, when I think we need to stay with this, what he's talking about now, and what just happened. So it makes it quite difficult for me to have the courage to just encourage them to stay with stuff,
right.
Rather than just be a passive listener, and then we just end up having a nice time because he's sort of the client is just getting to offload, and then it's just not productive. Yeah, so that's my. When just recently supervision, my therapist said my supervisor said something like, it's you want to reassure your client that you're not going to fold in the face of their tears or their shame or whatever is going on for them. You're not going to be disgusted or revolted or dismiss it or whatever. And I thought, oh God, that sounds really nice. And I would love someone to really, to know that someone was really like that and there for me. And I thought, I would like to be able to be like that for people. And I think probably I could, but it's being able to actively convey that to them, which takes a lot of courage and confidence, I think.
So, and courage really sounded right. So when I look at, say, what happens, I suppose your self-doubt means that you then have a lack of courage?
Yeah. Because I think with self-doubt comes tentativeness. Yeah. So the tentativeness is the real feeling, is what is the authentic feeling, but my defence might be to just put that to one side and then behave as if I'm more confident.
Right.
And then I might collude, I suppose, rather than go, hang on a minute, what's really going on here?
Yeah. To really look at it, break it down. So in terms of your experience of it, how do you experience it? So what does it feel like when your self-doubt sort of comes into the therapeutic relation? I don't know if that's something you can articulate, but
I think it's like an internal dialogue,
right,
that's sort of going on while I'm trying to be present with my client. So there's a lot going on there. And then it becomes more and more difficult to be present.
Right.
When I'm thinking, well, should I say that? I'm thinking this. Should I share that? Or is that just mine? Is that to do with my experience?
Yeah.
All this.
Yeah.
Questioning going on, I suppose. Yeah.
And previous to that, you used, I kind of heard it there again, you used the word, I think the word you used was stopping, but you said it stops the client and it stops me. So in one respect, is it that the internal dialogue's going on, but actually sometimes because of that, it then stops you from just being in the moment and being present and just being.
Definitely.
And I suppose I kind of want to think, does it go back then to, no, I need to do something for this client.
Yeah.
I can't just be.
I remember something that comes, and it popped into my mind recently, and it was Tracy who wrote on the feedback for one of my for my transcript, and oh God, she said, I was willing you to say something, and it was. I really struggled, but there was a however. But like I could barely breathe when she said that, you know. Because the client, it was a bereavement and it was quite a traumatic one, and there's clearly a lot of distress and grief, and she was one of my first clients in my placement, and you know, I just, in my fear of not acting authentically or appropriately, or I didn't want to offer faux cliche or anything like that. I perhaps didn't say anything, and I stuck with the silence, and Tracy obviously picked up on that. Probably was really distancing. And
so if you were to reflect on that moment, do you consider that was your self-doubt, or do you consider that may have been, because you said it was quite early on in your placement, do you consider that was your self-doubt, or do you consider that was naivety of not knowing?
Yeah, it could be a lack of experience. That's perhaps what made it worse. It's a lack of experience, and I've also taken my role, you know, even as a trainee psychotherapist, really seriously. You know, I'm very committed and driven and wanting to do the right thing. So in trying not to do something wrong, I perhaps then don't take chances with maybe getting something right.
Right.
Maybe. So yes, it's definitely a lack of experience, and also not having a lot of experience in my own life with responding to people.
Right.
In a way.
So I suppose then the self-doubt did come in that I'll sit with this because I'm a bit unsure.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that in my personal life it can be quite difficult to know what to do for people and with people when they're in a state of distress. When something, you get a sense that something is needed, but you don't want to get it wrong.
Right.
Because there's a lot more at risk at stake, I think. Yeah, one of my clients said recently, when she was upset about something, a relative kind of, you know, was rubbing her leg and really hugged her. She said, I just needed space. And I thought, oh God, the uncomfortableness of getting something that you don't need or you don't want in a time when you need something, but you perhaps don't know what that is, and intuitively the people don't know, or maybe if they do know, in my case, I might have an idea of what somebody wants, but my self-doubt would just hold me back.
Right.
It might not be right, it might not be the right thing to do. Oh God. So tell me what you need and I'll do it. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. And the word I want to use there is it kind of plagues you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Oh God. It's like if I could just get rid of all this shit, I could maybe clear all the shit out and see what there is. My supervisor said to me once, and in all that, you know, in that anxiety, in those moments, whose anxiety is that? You know, how much of it is yours, and how much sugar? I said, that's really difficult to do. That's like getting a load of sand and putting it on the table and going, well, which is yours? It's all meshed together.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm anxious.
Yeah, in the moment, yes. So how often do you